Jake Stuart with the National Sports Media Association, and today I'm joined by Jon Shields. Jon is the Maine Sportscaster of the Year for 2021. Jon, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me on here. Appreciate it.
Now, Jon, I want to start off because I think this is really cool. I did my research. I want to start off and just highlight the fact that you call the Maine Black Bears, you call the hockey team. Your dad, Don, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but he calls the women's basketball games for Maine as well.
Yes, that's correct. Yep, that he does. He's been doing that a lot longer than I have, and he was the 2014 NSMA Sportscaster of the Year. So that's kind of neat too.
Wow, and was he the one that got you into sportscasting? Is he who wanted to make you be a sportscaster?
Yeah, pretty much. He got me in the door, pushing buttons at a radio station, and then that kind of started my track. And sportscasting wasn't necessarily my number one focus, but it's been definitely a fun and fulfilling part of my career.
Now, you spoke before we got on the call about how you kind of dabbled in radio as well a little bit. Can you talk a little bit more about what goes into kind of your daily work and aside from just the commentating the hockey?
Yeah, well, Maine hockey is I always call it, a part-time job, which obviously, it's a seasonal thing. It's not a year-round job, but it's one I really enjoy. And my regular full-time job is I'm an operations manager for a group of radio stations in Maine, Bangor and Augusta, Maine. We have some stations in Rockland, Midcoast, Maine too. And one of our stations carries Maine hockey and football. So it all kind of works together a little bit too. But so operations manager is my regular job. Just keep the stations moving, keep the stations running, and I get to do hockey on the side for fun, which is a lot of fun.
Now, Jon, this is your first award from the National Sports Media Association. What does it mean to you to be recognized by your peers?
I'm still kind of shocked. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. It's hard to kind of wrap my mind around it because we have so many great broadcasters in Maine. I mean, if you look just at the people who have won it from the state of Maine, a lot of them are still working, still great broadcasters and covering. Rich Kimball has won this. He's our Maine football announcer. Bob Lucy, his partner on football, they've won it. Just to name two guys right there, and they're amazing. They could win it every year, back and forth. So it's pretty incredible, and I appreciate it. And then, we have a ton of TV reporters here in the state that are just work hard and are really talented and are great. I mean, I think there's probably a list of half a dozen people who could win this award. So the fact that I got the opportunity to win it this year is really special to me. And then even on the sports writer side, there are so many great sports writers in Maine too. It's pretty incredible the amount of talent we have here in the state of Maine.
Well, aside from just your dad, you spoke a little bit about his mentorship. Who are your other mentors? Who are some of the people that you'd like to thank for the award?
The gentleman who had the UMaine hockey job before me, Dan Hannigan, was a huge mentor of mine. He did this job for 25 years, I think, 25 years. And his last 5 years, I was kind of his fill-in. So he would do TV home games. And when he was on TV, I would fill in on the radio. So just I had a taste of it for a few seasons before I took over full time. It would vary. I would do 5 to 10 games a year for Dan. Sometimes I'd get to go on the road and fill in for him too. And he was a huge help in me learning hockey and some tools and tricks to keep a good broadcast going. So hands-on, Dan Hannigan, definitely a big mentor. And then listening to people do games over the years. A huge Penguins fan. So Mike Lang, a legendary announcer for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't necessarily have his same love for catchphrases. I don't have any. He's a big catchphrases guy. But outside of that, he's just a very technical play-by-play guy too. Or he was. He's retired now. But he's very technical, and that's part of something I kind of try to take from him. And Gary Thorne. You're familiar with Gary Thorne, a legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster too. He was the first play-by-play announcer for the UMaine men's hockey program. He's from Maine and worked in the Bangor market. So he's a person that I don't know very well, or really I talked to him once or twice, but just listening to him and watching him over the years do the NHL at the ESPN level back in the 90s, another broadcaster I definitely looked up to and listened to for a long time.
I'm curious too, Jon. You've been calling hockey games for a long time and just been around the commentating space for a while. Is there a particular game, or maybe a game you either watched or commentated that stands out to you as one, that was pretty sweet to be a part of?
Well, let's just look back on this year. It wasn't the best year for Maine hockey, wins and losses. The first year head coach program is kind of trying to rebuild. But our head coach, Ben Barr, was an assistant at UMass, the defending national champions, and he's come to Maine to take over the program. And Maine, the Black Bears played at UMass overtime. Maine won the game in overtime with a great goal by a young player on the team, Donovan Houle. UMass was ranked 9th in the country, so that's kind of upset alert. So it was very exciting, and it was a fun game to be a part of. That was a very exciting game this year. So even though they didn't have many wins this year, that game sticks out. They beat New Hampshire, which is the arch rival, at home. On senior night, they scored 8 goals on top of a university. So they went out with a bang for their seniors. So just this year, there's 3. They beat Boston College, which is always good. Beat them at home. But the overtime win against the 9th-ranked UMass team, that was pretty sweet at UMass. So I got a little excited on that one, and then I looked down and see some UMass fans just looking up at me at the press box like, "What are you doing up there?" But it was exciting, and it was a team that didn't get a lot of wins, but they worked hard this year. So there were some exciting moments, and I think when you cover a team week in and week out, and you get to call every game, there are moments along the way, even a year that didn't have as many wins as you would wish. There are highlights that you can look back and think those are exciting. So we had some this year, and I'm looking forward to many more.
And for those maybe less familiarized with the state of Maine and in hockey in general, can you talk about just how popular the sport is out there in your region?
Very popular. It's got a great fan base, and the Black Bear fans travel so well everywhere we go. I look down and I see, in the crowd, Black Bear jerseys and T-shirts. I mean, this program travels really, really well. We have Maine fans, throughout New England and really the country. The year started in Omaha. The Black Bears traveled to Omaha to take on the Omaha Mavericks, and there were Maine fans there in Omaha. So it's just the Black Bears have support all over the country, but really, obviously, here in the state of Maine, the program has fans that are passionate, and the best fans in college hockey. If you ask us around here, it's true. An atmosphere at the Alphon Arena, which is where they play their home games, it's like none other in college hockey. It's just it's exciting, it's fun, and it's great fans. The student body all the way down to alumni and just people who in the community who come and support. There's a huge number of local people who really support this team. It's a program that won 2 national championships. First one in 1993, second one in 1999. They've been to a ton of tournaments and Frozen Fours, and it's been a little while since they've got back to that point, but they're trying to build back to that right now.
Well, hey, if you're a hockey fan, now's a good time to hop onto the Maine bandwagon before they start to get real good again, as you mentioned. Well, the last question I wanted to ask you, Jon, and thanks again for your time, is what advice do you have for some younger sportscasters, thinking back to your time in the industry and maybe some things you wish you would have known getting in?
Well, I'm not sure about things I wish I would have known, but one thing, a piece of advice I would have is, when I look back to think about how I got the opportunity to do this job, a lot of it is just being ready for the opportunity. And, Dan Hannigan, a guy I mentioned before, he decided to retire after 25 years, and I was there and ready to go. And, it was just a matter of me doing those games. And in addition to that, I found games to do. If it was, I did some D3 hockey games just for practice along the way. Made some money on those, not a ton, and I had to travel a couple hours to do those games. But that's when I first started. I was willing to drive 2 hours, maybe not. I never wanted to lose money, but you're not going to get rich either. If it was enough to pay my gas in a little bit of time to do those games, I did it. I did UMaine women's hockey games for a while on their video stream before I took over the men's program, and I didn't get paid for that. I just did it because I wanted to call hockey. So just if you can have the opportunity to call games, you should call games. That's my biggest piece of advice. Find a way to get out there. And I've done volleyball and softball and baseball, all fun. Volleyball is a lot of fun to do. Basketball, of course, a little bit of football, but just if the opportunity's there and they're out there, those opportunities are out there, go find them and do them. Even if it doesn't pay a ton of money, you should get the time on the microphone. That's the most important thing.
I love that advice, just saying yes to whatever comes your way, whether it provides a lot of money or it's just for the experience and for the fun. Jon, thank you so much for coming here, our 2021 Maine Sportscaster of the Year, and hopefully we'll see you in June for the conference.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Jake.